Hello, everyone. It's been a little while since I've actually been like building stuff. Like I have the main fortress, which I haven't been able to get to. I got trucks broken down, a lot of equipment to get stuff there is broken down. So I ended up deciding with the mess I had here at the bottom of the mountain and cleaning up stuff and just reorganizing and building a shop bunker down here so I can work on things because the other shop was destroyed, and didn't really see much of a point in videoing a bunch of preliminaries on this, but I have actually started and made a pretty good dent in the first of the underground storage bunkers, sort of. This is actually the interchange for the lower depot bunker. It will be able to access the underground to the fortress in the future, and it will connect to the basically the lower shop here in the depot, so I can actually get some of these trucks fixed and the equipment fixed so I can take it and get up to the top again. The road up there, the road going up to the top is in pretty bad shape. So figuring basically was losing the last of the year, so I'd have to get something done. So I've been actually working on this for a couple weeks now. Haven't gotten a ton done, and that's basically because it just takes a lot of time prepping this. So thanks to the little John Deere, I've been able to excavate out down here. And then by hand, I've started putting in some of the timbers that go down to bedrock, as many as I could find, so that we have the primary interchange right here to connect over to the bunker that will have the shop and everything. So I'll let you see exactly what I got. Basically, this one is going to be built pretty much all out of railroad ties. And I've been going around and picking up railroad ties for years and years and got a whole bunch. Unfortunately, most of them are pretty weak. I got some really strong ones, but when you start looking up on the price of them, it gets pretty expensive. So I'm going to show you some other ties that I just picked up thanks to you, the viewer. Here we have 33 brand new railroad ties. Now these ties are normally $200+ a piece. They're 10 footers, never been used, but these are what they call rejects. And AK Railroad sells all these materials, and they made me a deal on them. So I bought basically what they had on the deal, because regular ties are about the same price for good ones, but these are brand new. One of the interesting things, they call them rejects because there'll be anything from, there'll be some cracks in it or some notches out of them. The cracks aren't going to really affect me on the strength. The biggest issue is sometimes some of them will be bent. I left a couple that were like really bent and twisted. I think I have one or two really bent and twisted ones in here. That's okay. I can cut them and use them as shorter sections. But I really wanted to make sure I had some really good railroad ties for the supports and the overhead roof, because this is going to get another set of supports up here and then a roof. We're going to be putting basically landfill liner over top so it would stay dry. And this will be sort of the interchange to the entrance to the, over here will be the underground shop area and access to the tunnels to get to the fortress. So when this gets done, it's going to take a little bit of work. I'm also racing against time because we have winter setting in. So I had to buy a few things. when I put all these pillars in right here, as many as I could, I went down to bedrock. On a couple of these outer ones, I could not get right down to bedrock, so I went quite deep, poured concrete, and set it. So all these are actually all on concrete pads. And then what I sort of use is like a cheap way of putting them together, if I'm really relying on compression, is rebar. When I want to attach these things, I drill a 1/2 inch hole and then pound in 1/2 inch rebar. And I will set it up so like right here will be a column going up to the roof. And a lot of these are just stacked, but this upper one is pinned in. In some areas, you might have not just compression, but extension. And then I use threaded rod stock right here. This is 1/2 inch. I really like to use something a little heavier, but I'm going to use this for now on some of the areas. And later on, I can always drill additional holes and put heavier rod stock in, but that will like compress and hold columns together, or basically floor sections together. But I really like this is really supposed to be designed to look like a mine area right here. And I really like this look in here on the floor for this section of the interchange. And basically gonna have to be tunneling in somewhere over here, or I will connect to one of the other tunnels. So basically that's what I've got. I've gotten some other wood during all my time saving and picking stuff up. I had 16-foot railroad ties, and they're expensive. I'm told that to buy like the big long, well, this one's two 8-footers. Actually, one of those is a longer 10-footer, so the end goes up into the bedrock. These are 16-footers, and I'm told it's about $7 or $8 a foot for the long ones. So when you start thinking about it, you know, it's going to be like 10 feet is $70, 16 feet, it's going to be like 140 or 120, somewhere in there. Somewhere in that range. I'm not going to even bother thinking about it. So I had to get a few tools to do all this. I use my rigid grinder here for cutting my rebar. I use the rigid drill to drill the holes for the threaded stock, or the 1/2 inch holes. And this is like basically about a 2-foot drill bit. I actually think I'm going to need to buy me like a 3-foot or a 4-foot. If not, I will weld a rod onto a drill bit and use that. And then I tape measure, square. I always have my string level. And I'm trying to figure out where I put my string. String should be around here somewhere. And then to cut, I got this little baby. I just picked this up like last week. It's a rigid chainsaw. However, the rigid chainsaw comes only with a 12-inch blade. I did some checking around. Rigid doesn't offer anything anymore, but I saw like a video of somebody using a Craftsman bar, and I heard like something on one of the I think on Reddit that somebody had put a Power Care 14-inch bar on, which is sold by Home Depot, the same place that sold me the rigid. So I went down and I actually bought a 14-inch bar. I didn't really know how much issue I would have, and I tried the 14-inch bar out and it worked great. And they had an 18, so I bought the biggest one of the small bars that would fit. So that's an 18-inch bar, and believe me, it like works really, really well. I've been cutting quite a bit, and I just have the smaller, well, a little bit bigger than the 4 amp hour. That's a 6 amp hour octane battery right there. And I've been cutting with it, and it's been doing really good. I get a lot of cuts at it, and I've actually, for a full day work, I'm not cutting everything all the time, but it usually lasts me the whole day. and it's been great. So, and one thing, nobody's paying me for talking about this Ridgid tool and the Power Care bar. When I find good tools that I work with, I don't mind, saying to my viewers, hey, I like this. It works great for me. Even if I don't make any money about it. At least maybe it'll help other people, make a decision on what kind of chainsaw they want to buy. Because, I've looked at a couple other places and I've seen some of the cheaper chainsaws, but then I calculated their battery cost, and that's still expensive. And the Ridgid, I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, the price, I think you can buy the whole kit, batteries, charger, and a chainsaw for like $269 or $289. I ended up just buying the saw, and I really should have bought it with the batteries. You get a little better value at that, because I think I paid like $180 for this. And yeah, it's working really great. And I really like the way that you can swap out the bars. It's really easy. Those two nuts just come right off, and you have your chain tensioner right here, which is built onto the cap, and it's like really easy to change. So I've got the original 12-inch blade, the 14-inch blade. They have a 16, but I just jumped straight to the 18. So all right, well, I am going to start getting ready. I got to start putting up the columns for the main level. So I am going to start looking through my pile and grabbing the best of the best for the columns. It's okay if the columns are a little bit twisted, but they can't be bent or too cracked. I still got some older stuff that's in good shape over here that I can use. And then I've got a couple piles around the corner of probably a couple hundred regular ones. And then I have thousands of basically they're like 7 inches by 7 inches by 6 foot. So I got lots of that. And those will be used for tunnel sections, shoring up in the tunnels and stuff like that. So, all right, enough chit chat. Now to get to some of the working. One of the first things I got to do is, like in the center, I have double columns, which I'm using 2 basically 12-foot long railroad ties. And sort of the last of my railroad long ones. I think I got a 14-footer over here, but I got 2 12s and a 14 left. And then if I need any more, I'm gonna have to buy them. So I just want to make sure that the bottom is really flat. This section's really hard. Rotate it up here. Get a little bit right here. Just need to get it out enough that it holds flat down on the concrete. I think I might have dulled my blade because it's basically got rocks in the creosote. I can see it didn't do my teeth very good. So it'll be interesting to see how it cuts after this. So I'm gonna get this and stand it up. Well, these railroad ties are pretty heavy. So I just gotta grab and slide. Get it over into place. want the good side to face out. So I need to move this up there. But go. 2x4 so it doesn't fall down that hole. Bring this one and let it. There. And up. Right there. Stay. Stay. It's a little shorter than 12 feet, but that's fine. This is going to have another railroad tie right in the back that ties into the beams. So now I have to drill a hole, put some threaded rod stock in, hold this in place. All right, let's do that. All right, I got the tallest column, two going to be like major columns, one here. This is a support column to the beam, but I'm going to have to be, there's going to be a lot of dirt on top, so I need to hold a lot of weight. So these are going to be doubled and tripled up. And later on, I will probably do some steel I-beam reinforcement, but I want to make it like old school, like the old mining ways. So make sure my beam is straight up and down, and I need to attach these two together. So I will drill, planning on using bigger bolts in later, but I just need something for holding now. And this looks good enough right here. Now you can still, if you don't have threaded stock and you still have that 1/2-inch rebar, you can pound the 1/2-inch rebar into here and they'll actually hold together really strong. In fact, the longer the rebar stays in this wood will the moisture and stuff, and the wood will really deform a little bit, and it will, if I have a piece of rebar here, I can show you, the rebar is not smooth. And the wood will take up those gaps, and actually just a piece of rebar, not even threaded stock, will lock two pieces of wood together really well. And that's what I mostly use, but there's places I just want to make sure that it stays together. So I use threaded stock with nuts on the end. So I drilled this, get my threaded stock, and we'll put it in and then work on the next one. Here I grabbed a piece of the rebar. See, it's not smooth. When you pound these in and use them as pins to connect the wood together, it takes a little bit of time. I would probably say give it a year, and the wood will expand to take up all those gaps, and it is quite almost impossible pulling them apart once you put them together with these. So I don't plan on ever taking it apart. But for the immediate term, I need to make sure that that thing's bolted good. So I just slid in a piece of my threaded rod stock. Just got to make a quick cut on it. Can I get this thing to start with a sort of a yucky end? There we go. Just get 2 crescent wrenches and I'll tighten that up. And I also need to put a pin down into this. This beam is a little bent. I need to put some more weight up here to push this beam down that 1/4 inch or less. Just so everything will be level, and I will continue from there. Well, unfortunately, when I went to trim that one railroad tie, the creosote had soaked in on the very ends with like really hard rocks or quartz or something. Completely destroyed my blade for my 8-inch. So I put the 14-inch in it, and I got the 12-inch in case I dull this one too. But the blade, but the chains are only about like $9 a piece, $10. So, and just to show you how well it cuts through the railroad ties, we'll show you with the 14-inch blade. Up a little bit. And a little more. As you can see, it cuts really well. One of the big things with the chains is to definitely have a sharp chain. And just to let you know, this is oak. This is not a soft wood. These railroad ties are oak. So they're like super heavy. I mean, I believe each of these 10-foot ties weighs probably 240 pounds, 200, 240, more than I weigh. So they're pretty beefy. So I'm gonna cut this, and you can see I got 2 of the central columns, and those are the ones that take the most load. That's why they'll be doubled up and possibly tripled up for the columns. And then once I get these put in, I can start working on the columns to the back and to the front. So I'm going to keep working on that and install this column right here. Another thing I use when I'm putting up the columns, since I seem to have run out of the threaded rod stock, for temporary, I use metal banding. So I just ratchet this thing here, get it nice and tight, right there, crimp that, and it'll hold this column together until I can get some more threaded rod stock. I think I have a pile of it somewhere, but I'm trying to remember where it's at. Otherwise, I'll have to go to Home Depot or something and pick some up. So, all right, as you can see, the column on the left is the right size. So I'm going to have to end up cutting the top of that one right there to match it. And it would be the same for that right across. It's working out really good, but it takes a long time to put these columns in. Whenever you're trying to get the stability in the main columns, it just takes a while. Once those are in, putting the roof top on and stuff, that'll go quick. So, all right, keep on going. Well, here we are. I've got 4 central columns. I need to really get the 6 columns, the one here and here, put in, and then strengthened before putting any more in. But I'm running out of light, but you can see takes a lot of work. I've used some of the banding to hold them in place until I can put bolts through them. I got 2x4s holding them in there. Gonna have to look about getting these back ones pulled over a little bit. So all 4 of the columns, and yeah, there we go. So I'm losing sunshine, so I'm gonna have to clean up here and get ready to head out and grab me some dinner. So figure out what we're gonna do here. I decided to end the video here. Getting late. I figure instead of big long videos, I just, as I'm going, I'll do parts 1, part 2, part 3. What I'll do is for part 2 will be the next weekend. On that, hopefully we'll get this whole center thing built. And if that's all built up, hopefully I'll have enough time that I can get the other columns on the side so we can get a better look on what it's going to be before we get it covered. So it's going to be an interesting project. So everyone, I'm glad you were watching, and please subscribe, please hit the notifications, hit the like button, and I will see you on the next video.